and they dominated you in the last two periods. Why the stark difference? Did something change? Did the matchups?
Well, I don't think it's matchups. I think it's the mentality of the faceoffs. It's it's the first battle of the shift. When I was out in San Jose, Todd McClellan, that was one thing he really preached. It's the first battle. If you were to take a puck and have two guys standing 10 feet away and throw the puck into the corner and say go get it, there'd be a pretty good battle to go get that puck. And you got to have that same mentality going in for faceoffs.
Is there an update on the status coach of Foligno and Umberger? They seem to defer to you or the Docs.
Yeah, right now, it's Foligno won't be in the lineup on Saturday. We're hoping possibly Monday, Game 3, and RJ. We're going to see how practice goes tomorrow for RJ, and there's a possibility he could play in Game 2.
What's the message when you see Bobrovsky skating today in an optional skate? Is it not happy with the game that he had last night?
That's a question for Bob. What I take from it is he's a guy that's constantly working on his game, trying to improve his game. Whether it's something he liked or he didn't like, he's a professional. He always he knows what he needs to do to get himself ready. And I just look at it as today he decided that he needed to go out, and whether it was just for energy purposes or if there's one specific thing that he wanted to do to work on his game, I don't know. But I always look at Bob as a good pro. He's getting himself ready to play for Saturday.
The things that you didn't do or didn't work out for you, are those things that can be corrected over a couple of days? And could you kind of say what they were?
Our identity and how we played and how we have success, I think we got away from that a little bit. Getting it deep into the zone and being able to hang on to the puck. And, extending their shifts in the zone, in their defensive zone, and wearing him down there and kind of grinding it. That's one thing that I think we've done well. We got the big forwards, big strong forwards. We got some smaller, quick forwards that can wear down opposing players, and we just didn't do that enough. Our forechecks were pretty good. Our physicality was good. The commitment was there for that. But there were too many times I think we were trying to make plays off the rush, lateral plays. And it resulted in turnovers, or it didn't allow us to get in on the forecheck.
At what point, if there were any, did you see the youngest team in the NHL playoffs out there on the ice?
At what, I'm sorry?
What point did you see the youngest team on the ice out there? Were there mistakes that only a young team would make, maybe?
I didn't come out of the game thinking that we looked inexperienced or we were hesitant or we were kind of waiting for something to happen. I didn't mind the way that we started the game. We weren't perfect. There were mistakes. Those are things that as coaches we got to address. We got to try to fix and repair. But I don't think it was anything from inexperience or youth.
You had the Dubinsky on Crosby matchup a lot last night. How did you think Dubinsky did against Crosby, and were you surprised that Bilesma didn't go for a different matchup given the second change?
Listening to Dan, his post game, that's not the matchup he was concerned about. At least that's what he said, or how I interpreted what he said. Is probably the best way to say it. The matchup that I believe he was looking for, he's more concerned about, was the defensive pair that were out on the ice. For me, getting Dubinsky out against Crosby, that's what the matchup that we were looking for, and we'll see going forward if it works, if it continues to work. If it falters at any moment, then we're going to have to look to make some other adjustments. But I thought Brandon did a good job. Brandon can skate with him. He's got the tenacity. He's strong. A lot of the qualities that you're looking for to try to battle against a really, really good player.
Sometimes a visiting team, lower seeded team, can surprise right off the bat in the first game with their effort and really playing well. You guys did that, and yet you don't get anything really for it. Do you anticipate that Pittsburgh will step up now and play a little bit harder, or even more so than they did?
I'm anticipating them to being better, I'm anticipating it being faster, more physical. I'm anticipating Pittsburgh to be better, but I'm expecting us to be better too. So I think that makes for a good combination.
We've talked a lot about the difference between one regular season game and a series. Some of the things that you did last night, are they things that can pay off in maybe a game 3, 4, or 5? I know the focus is on game 2, but thinking long term, did you do some things that you can?
Well, we need to keep playing that physical style. Again, that's our identity. We've had success with our forecheck and being physical. We got those types of players: Jared Bohl and Como and Matty Calvert and Trop, and you got Umberger and Foligno. You know, we got big guys that can go into the corners and crash and bang. And we talked about during the regular season about wearing teams down for the third period, and you want to have that same attitude going in about wearing them down, but it's also over a 7-game series, and you got to continually invest in it. You can't get away from it. And again, getting back to our turnovers and some of our puck decisions through the neutral zone, I think we got away from it a little bit. And some of it is I think based on you watch what the other team is doing when you're on the bench or you're playing against them, and sometimes that gets you to alter your game because you might try to do some of those same things. And they're a rush attack team, and you know, we aren't the Pittsburgh Penguins. We got to play like the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Is it kind of reassuring when you see Letang or Malkin or Crosby to a lesser degree, kind of your players kind of getting under their skin?
You know, I'm not as concerned about frustrating them or trying to drive them crazy. I just want us to play hard. And you know, I thought we did that last night. And but I think we can be better, and I think we can be harder. And we're going to need to be, because I'm expecting them to be better.
How did you think you handled the shift right after you went up 3-1? Did they make a huge push that you weren't prepared for, or is that just the Penguins and it's going to happen?
Well, they were still on the power play. So that was, you know, I believe they changed their groups after that. You'd have to go back and look. I'm sure they changed the defensemen. But I believe they changed all 5. And, you know, the second group is more of the mentality of shooting the puck. And, you know, Niskanen back on the point. And I don't think it was us not being ready for the next shift. They were on the power play, so there was an advantage there. It would have been, you know, the game might have been different if we could have gotten out of that penalty kill by killing that off and not giving up a goal.
You want to keep them out of the box, of course. Is it a tough, fine line to draw between being as physical as you want to be and the fact that if you play that way, that perhaps there are going to be penalties?
Well, you know, one thing we talked about is playing with that, but we have to be disciplined. You know, you got to be hard on these guys. You got to be able to finish checks. You got to be able to skate. But, you know, there's a fine line, and we can't be crossing that line. And again, I thought we did a pretty good job last night. You know, when you go back and look at the penalties, Como cross check and Jackson interference, and I'm trying to think who the other one was. But anyways, was it a trip? Oh, 2. Yeah, that again, the penalties you look at. It wasn't because of our aggressiveness. You know, they were hockey plays. The referees saw them as penalties, but those are ones that you got to go out and kill off. And again, when you're giving them 3 opportunities, to me, that's penalties are going to happen in a game. And 3 is not a bad number. It's when you get up to 4 or 5 that it can become a big problem.
Todd, after giving up 3 straight, did you need to rally the team after the game? Did you rub salt in the wound to try to make them angry for Saturday, or is the dressing room right now kind of self-maintaining?
I did not go in after the game. I talked with a couple players this morning, just asked them, and to me, they're all saying the right things, doing the right things. We had a good meeting this morning. talked about a couple things, get ourselves ready for Saturday.